So, evidence based programs are programs that have been rigorously tested in a controlled setting, and then that program is then implemented for practical application. And not only is their initial evaluation on these programs, but the evaluation itself is peer reviewed. So it's not just one group saying, "Oh yeah, this we have evidence to back this program's effectiveness." It's multiple other groups and people taking a look at it and coming to the same determination. And evidence based programming is important because those that are funding organizations and agencies like to see evidence behind the programs that are being implemented before they shovel all their money into the agency or organization. And it makes it a lot easier for the leaders at these agencies to allocate the resources that they do have towards programs that have evidence behind their effectiveness. It's easier to get the community on board with programs that are evidence based, and because they're evidence based, you want programs that are going to result in the best outcomes for the participants. So that's why evidence based programs are highly used. So I'll talk a little bit about prevention programs for a few different populations, and I'll start with the youth population. And the first one I'll talk about is one we learned about in this course, and that's the Talk They'll Listen program. And that involves schools bringing in parents to get them involved in substance use prevention with children, which I think is probably one of the primarily effective prevention strategies. Would be having parents and other trusted adults just talk to them honestly about substances and alcohol use and the possible consequences and outcomes. And there are a few other evidence-based programs that are implemented, and one of those would be resistance skill training, and that teaches kids the ability to not only resist peer pressure, but to resist influences portrayed in media and society regarding substance use. It allows them the ability to say, this substance is being positively portrayed in media, but do I have any real world evidence to back this positive perception of the substance use? Another program that's implemented is normative education, and that basically shows kids that substance use and alcohol use is not as normal as they may have been led to believe. It often uses surveys from the school or their specific class or the community in general to kind of show kids the numbers of how few people are actually using these substances. And the final one I'll talk about is competence enhancement. And that basically just teaches kids life skills, coping skills, social skills in order to assertively ask for help or say no to certain situations, or really to just build healthy relationships so that they may not feel the need to turn to substances. The next group I'll talk about is college age students, and this one was kind of hard for me because there's a lot of resources for there's a lot of statistics on college substance use, but it doesn't seem like there's that many actual programs to prevent the use of substances for college age kids. One of the things I did find was on Blackhawk's website, there's a document. It's updated yearly, and it's regarding the Drug-Free Schools and Communities Act, also known as the Drug-Free Schools and Campuses Act of 1989. And it just outlines guidelines for post-secondary schools, kind of how to deal with substance use and the prevention of substance use on college campuses. And one of the things Blackhawk does that I think a lot of schools do is they provide alcohol and substance-free activities, whether it's festivals or movie nights or game nights. Everything that's school sanctioned is going to be alcohol and substance-free. There are plenty of organizations. One of them that I found is the Higher Education Center for Alcohol and Drug Misuse and Prevention. But once again, I couldn't find specific programs. They provide seminars and trainings and consultation that deal with the prevention of use, but no actual programs for college students. And just another example of school-specific things, a school like UW-Madison has Alcohol EDU, which is required for all incoming students. It is an online course that must be passed by the student, and basically just educates them on the use of alcohol and other substances, harmful effects. So moving on, I'll talk about older adults. And it says there's not a lot of evidence-based programs that are currently being implemented, but a lot of what I read, there's promising programs that are still being researched and studied. So what I've noticed, the biggest thing with older adults is it seems like they have a higher regard for instruction or advice that's coming from so-called authority figures. It seems like one of the most effective methods for prevention of alcohol misuse or prescription misuse would be just brief advice from their primary care physician. It seems like what the doctor tells the older population, they really take seriously and take to heart. So if their primary doctor has a talk with them about the risks and warning signs of possible substance abuse, it seems as if they really listen. And the same can be said about a pharmacist. If a pharmacist takes the time to talk with a patient about the risks and possible misuses of their prescribed medication, there's a higher likelihood that the older adult will not misuse said medication. And the same goes for older adults seem to respond really well to just education on the topic in general, whether it be one-on-one or in a group setting, such as in a retirement home or at a church. They seem to respond well to being educated on the topic. And there's specific tools that have been designed specifically for the older population. One of those is the Alcohol Related Problem Survey, or ARPS, and it has very comparable results to screenings such as MAST or CAGE. So that's starting to be implemented as a way of gauging if early intervention is necessary with older adults. And there's just other stuff like that, like the PEP program, the personal education program, that it's kind of the same thing. This deals kind of more specifically with medication misuse and abuse, but once again, it identifies if an individual may be likely to misuse their medication, and it kind of educates them on how to not do so. I believe that's everything I got.